Well, here we are. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is making his official announcement that every British citizen will now be forced to have this mandatory digital ID, something that we discussed in detail about yesterday. So consider watching that video if you're completely out of the loop on this stuff, as there's a lot more info in that video. But to quickly summarize, the UK has been having this ongoing migrant crisis, something that Starmer and Labour have consistently made worse. And now they're trying to use the crisis that they essentially created, or at the very least made worse, to have as an excuse for this mandatory digital ID, saying things like, oh yes, we're doing this to tackle the migrant crisis that so many people want us to tackle. So here we are doing that thing that you want us to do. Aren't you happy now? And it's like, of course not. This is just more government overreach, and this doesn't actually tackle the migrant crisis in any way, shape, or form. This doesn't actually do anything to solve the problem. And, it's just an excuse to control the population more, spy on them even more, just enabling further government overreach in a country that will already arrest its own citizens for social media posts that criticize the government's policies. We also just saw, like, the UK Office of Communications and the Online Safety Act and all that. It's just rapidly getting worse and worse over there. And I feel so bad for all of our friends in Britain because this is just disgusting stuff to see, really. Keir Starmer, this guy's got no shame at all. And here he is.
Today, I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
It's pretty telling how Starmer doesn't even make an attempt to not sound just completely evil. Like, he's up there sounding like just some evil dictator, and he's not even trying to make it seem like that's not the case at all. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And so, like I said yesterday, I fully expect that this will just be used against good Britons, and the migrants who don't end up getting this mandatory digital ID, they'll probably somehow get a reward from Starmer. Obviously, I don't mean directly oh, here we go, we're going to give you a reward for not complying, but there'll probably be government programs that assist them in various ways, further aid to these migrants, many of which are illegal, some doing extremely disgusting things to the population, and it'll probably go down like this. So if you're a British citizen, you need to have this ID to work. If you're a migrant and you don't have this ID, we better give you some more government money, because it's unfortunate that you can't work. Here's some money from the government, taxpayer pounds paying for this. You all get the point, right? There's so many reasonable, very obvious issues with this whole policy. A lot of it's just common sense based. And now let me show you something crazy but completely typical of Starmer's government. So it was just reported today, hours ago, by the Telegraph that a man has been arrested over posting an image online that said F Hamas. The blogger from Eastingwold, North Yorkshire, was interviewed at a police station over claims that he had stirred up racial hatred with the post. He was later released without charge. Mr. North has now accused North Yorkshire police of attempting to terrorize members of the public into being politically correct online. And yeah, while he was released, it's very clear that Starmer's government and the police force are trying to intimidate citizens into not speaking out on issues that they feel passionate about. For example, we saw that they had even created a few months ago a what they're calling an elite police task force to monitor any social media posts that criticize his migrant policies. What's going on with these illegals that are flooding into the UK. And now, as mentioned, Starmer's doing nothing to stop it. You criticize that stuff, these police might show up at your door. They might arrest you for a period of time, and sure, you might get released, but again, it's painting a very clear picture that people in the UK don't have free speech at all. And Starmer, of course, has claimed the contrary. He tries to say that, oh yes, we have free speech and we've had it for a very long time. Yes, Yeah, he's full of it. Speaking of which, let's take a look at this next. British police enter a man's home in the middle of the night to arrest him over a tweet. Now, unless the tweet was showing him committing, an actual, heinous act, right? An actual crime. He assaulted someone on camera and the police show up and they're like, yeah, we saw this clip that you tweeted. What were you thinking tweeting this out? You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have tweeted it. Now we have to show up and here we are, right? But I don't think that's the context here. This is probably something that, again, Starmer's government found to be offensive and problematic. And now we got to have the police show up and arrest you for that mean tweet. You shouldn't have criticized our policies or criticized what these migrants are doing. You can't talk about that. You can't talk about the disgusting things that a lot of these migrants have been caught doing and how judges seem to turn the other way and all that stuff, right? So, again, I don't know the context for sure, But based off prior precedent, I think it's reasonable to conclude that this is probably just government overreach. I'm just making that disclaimer, of course, that I don't know for sure what this is about, but let's take a look. Once again, British police enter a man's home in the middle of the night to arrest him over a tweet.
If you've got stuff you'd like to gather, obviously I'm more than willing to talk through what you're able to take with you.
What, you're taking me away now?
Yes, so you're under arrest, so you're going to Harrogate, unfortunately.
You're taking me to Harrogate in the middle of the night over a tweet?
I am, unfortunately.
Is this what you signed up the police to do?
This is my role. I'm trying to be reasonable with you here.
So
if there's stuff you'd like to gather, I'm more than willing to allow you to gather some sort of stuff like medication, if you've got any numbers you need. But at the moment,
you join the police to go and arrest people at night for tweets online.
Do you need any medication? I can't imagine that you are going to be in very long, but do you need any medication that you take at night?
No.
Anything else you can think of? Wallet? Want to change your shoes or out?
And again, them saying like, oh, you're probably not going to be there very long, that just makes it, again, seem like the context of the tweet wasn't like a serious crime that he recorded himself doing and stupidly posted online. No, it was probably just a tweet that they found offensive or whatever. And so it goes back to what I mentioned about this just coming off like an intimidation tactic. But I know I'm also preaching to the choir here. You guys all get it. Let's continue.
I'd like to put some shoes on if that's all right with you.
Of course it is.
Righty, huh?
And so the clip goes on for about a minute longer. I'll skip towards closer to the end here.
Allerton.
We're referred to as Hambleton. So
yeah.
We're also Harrogate District.
Yeah.
So if
but
you're
of course, like the police they're not going to be able to credibly tell anybody that they're under-resourced now if they're sending people out to arrest people for tweets. Well, there's no point us debating it, is it? It's your... Could you... right, just a sec. Would you...
We'll be taking that for us, unfortunately.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well...
It sounds like they're also taking his phone right there. Is that what they said? Like, we'll be taking that as well, pointing to the phone. Unless there's something off camera that we're not seeing.
Right, just a sec. Would you...
We'll be taking that for us, unfortunately.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, now that you sent a mean tweet criticizing Starmer's policies or whatever the mean tweet was that was so offensive, we also got to arrest you and take your phone and scan your entire phone and look through it and all that stuff. Yeah. Returning to Starmer's announcement about digital IDs, we have Parliament.uk, a petition created hours ago that's already achieved over 1.4 million signatures. And they say, do not introduce digital ID cards. We demand that the UK government immediately commits to not introducing digital ID cards. There are reports that it's being looked at. We think this would be a step towards mass surveillance and digital control, and that no one should be forced to register with a state-controlled ID system. We oppose the creation of any national ID system. ID cards were scrapped in 2010, in our view, for good reason. And like I said much earlier in the video, as in like literally the intro, Starmer had... this was not voted on, right? Like, people did not unanimously vote on rolling out this digital ID system. No, Starmer's just like, yeah, we're doing this. I don't care what you guys have to say about it. We're doing this. And if you don't get one, you're not going to be able to work anymore. Bro's like completely mustache twirling villain status. Let's check out this 30-second clip.
If a digital ID card, how will it like physically stop people coming to the shore?
So, look, this is exactly
question,
the
great
point.
question.
Well, I know, but I mean, don't listen to these two. I mean, this government presided over record levels of immigration and stopped processing asylum claims, which is why so many towns around the country have been dealing with what we've been seeing in recent days. That's the point that I'm making, is that there is no one single solution to this. I tell you what will stop.
There kind of is, though, right? Like, you could enforce turning these boats away, having stronger border patrols or something, right? There was a whole Rwanda policy, which was hilarious. And sure, I understand there's like issues with that, but I think it's pretty fair to say, though, if the Rwanda policy actually ended up like going forward, that, yeah, it would stop a lot of these migrant boats. For those that are not familiar with the Rwanda policy, it was basically saying that like if someone gets caught illegally migrating to the UK, they're actually going to get shipped all the way to Rwanda, which I just find so crazy but hilarious at the same time. Like, bro, imagine crossing the English Channel and then you get caught and you're like, yeah, this small passage of water that you're trying to cross over, you're not going to succeed with that. Actually, now we're sending you all the way to freaking like Central South Africa. That would probably stop a lot of these illegal migrants, actually, don't you think?
Stop people coming over.
But hey, no, let's not do that. Let's roll out mandatory digital ID. That's what we're going to do.
On small boats if we disrupt the criminal gangs.
I gotta play it back. Did you guys catch that? That's got to be one of the craziest things I've heard.
Solution to this. I tell you what will stop people coming over on small boats if we disrupt the criminal gangs.
Okay, so What will disrupt the small boats is if we disrupt criminal gangs. And to do that, we're going to make a mandatory digital ID that will make it more difficult for people to legally work. How is that going to stop criminal gangs? If anything, that will probably lead to more crime. What a crazy answer. By the way, for the record, I don't think they actually care about stopping criminal gangs either. At least if they're migrant criminal gangs, because Starmer's government has actually been like defending those criminal gangs to an extent, in that they've actually tried to intimidate the victims of these gangs, in which we're talking about actual like SA crimes against minors, by the way. They tried to intimidate those young girls from speaking out about what those criminal gangs, these migrant criminal gangs, have done. So miss us with this ridiculous excuse. And furthermore, when there was migrants who got caught doing these horrific things, and the people, the good British people, protested outside the migrant hotels that were housing a number of these disgusting criminals doing some of the worst things you could imagine to innocent people. And so, as mentioned, you had British citizens protesting outside these hotels, demanding actual justice. What did Starmer do? He labeled those people far-right extremists and tried to shut down the protests, labeling them all as just like hate and bigotry. All right, on to the next clip. Let's check this one out.
All UK citizens will have to have one. Well, the plan is that we're going to roll this out by the end of
No,
Parliament.
my question is, what if I don't? What if I've got my job, so I don't need to show this to anyone. So what if I just don't do it?
So if you don't have one, then you'll have a problem if you want to get a new job.
No, I'm saying I'm not doing this. I'm not seeking a job. So why should I get the digital ID card? Why do I do it?
Well,
Is there some fine for not doing it? Is there an incentive to do it? I'm just thinking I've got no reason to do it.
Yeah, so they're probably trying to like keep it a little bit measured. Like as this rolls out right away, they're already getting a ton of pushback for it. They don't want to get even more. So as it progresses from here, they will probably make the punishments more and more excessive as time goes on to try and force everyone to conform to this new policy.
Look, this isn't a heavy-handed approach. We're not planning to go around
Yet.
finding people. But what we are going to do is make sure that everybody's got one. In the same way, Charlie, as you've got a national insurance number, if you're a citizen of this country, we'll make sure that everybody has a digital ID.
So help me with this. I know we're plotting through this, but
Yeah.
so everyone watching who's got a job has got a national insurance number. So when these digital ID cards exist, if I just go to my employer and show them my national insurance number, is that not sufficient? Are they being precluded from employing me?
It won't be sufficient. I just want to be really clear about that.
So they can't employ people unless they've seen one of these
a digital ID.
cards.
Yes, that's right. That is the plan. And the major benefit of that to the entirety of the UK is that we will therefore be able to disrupt the illegal market where people come to this country and work illegally and undercut British workers who could otherwise get those
national
jobs.
insurance.
It's such a farce, bro. It just goes back to what I said. Sorry to be a broken record, but all that's doing, they're not actually stopping the boats. They're not saying that they have an additional measure to stop the boats. They're just saying like, oh, yeah, this will stop them from working. And then, like I said, what are they going to do? Then they're probably just going to give those migrants who can't work additional government aid, additional benefits in some way. It's just going to make the situation even worse. And so now we've got a number of responses from political leaders in the UK. We've got Reform UK's Nigel Farage here saying we already have digital IDs to ensure migrants have the right to work here. Any foreign employee needs to get a share code on their e-visa account and give it to the employer to check on a system. If an employer doesn't get a share code, they're breaking the law. We don't need digital ID. What's the real reason behind Starmer's push for a digital ID? Ed Davey of the Liberal Democrats says Keir Starmer wants to force everyone to have a digital ID, but the Liberal Democrats say that's not the kind of country we should be. Instead, the government should focus on fixing real problems like the NHS and social care, also providing a 1-minute clip.
Keir Starmer wants to make every one of us have a digital ID. This is what Labour wants. They've tried it before, now they're trying it again. Liberal Democrats say that's not the kind of country we want to be. For a start, it's going to waste a lot of money, cost them billions. We don't want this extra bureaucracy in our lives. And frankly, I don't trust the government with our data, with our privacy, and I don't think it's capable of delivering this type of project. Liberal Democrats opposed Labour's ID cards last time they proposed them and we beat them. We're going to do it this time. We're going to do it partly by saying, look, could you not spend more time, more money, more focus on fixing problems with the NHS and care? Let's get GP waiting times down. Let's fix social care. Let's support family carers. That's the focus that there should be in the government. So Liberal Democrats are clear. This is really a bad idea, way too costly, and let's try and stop it.
And the Tories' Kemi Badenoch says this announcement is a desperate gimmick that will do nothing to stop the boats. There are arguments for and against digital ID, but mandating its use would be a very serious step that requires a proper national debate. Instead, this is a throwaway conference announcement designed to distract attention from Andy Burnham's leadership maneuverings and the crisis in Downing Street over the Prime Minister's chief of staff. The government has struggled to enforce its feeble one-in, one-out deal with France, which has turned into 100-in, one-out national embarrassment. Can we really trust it to implement an expensive national program that will impact all of our lives and put additional burdens on law-abiding people? I doubt it. Only the Conservatives have a plan to end abuse, enforce the law, and put British interests first by disapplying the Human Rights Act and deporting anyone who arrives in our country illegally. And I think that'll be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed my coverage, though. Please consider liking and or subscribing if you did. And as I've said before, all the best to our friends in Britain. This is some crazy stuff, man. Crazy times. But thank you as always for tuning in. I hope you do have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.